IRS's failure to pay penalty is the most common penalty that's assessed against taxpayers. It makes up more than 50% of all IRS penalties. The penalty incurs when you don't pay your taxes by the due date of the return. Now, this penalty is different from the estimated tax penalty. It applies when you don't pay your taxes throughout the year, during the year, through estimated tax payments or through withholding. If at the end of the year that's insufficient or it's not timely made throughout the year, the estimated tax penalty will apply. Let's talk about the failure to pay penalty, because we can get the failure to pay penalty abated for basically two reasons. One is first-time penalty abatement, and the other one is called reasonable cause. Now, first-time penalty abatement is always what we try first. The first-time penalty abatement, or FTA, allows a one-time waiver of the failure to pay, failure to file penalties if you have a clean compliance history. That means in the prior 3 years you have no penalties and you've filed all your tax returns on time. Now, if you don't qualify for first-time penalty abatement, you have to use what's called reasonable cause abatement. Now, reasonable cause applies if you have circumstances outside of your control that caused you not to be able to pay the taxes on time. Now, this circumstance can't only affect your tax liability. It needs to affect other areas of your life. And what we're really talking about for reasonable cause is financial hardship. You couldn't pay your taxes on time because you incurred some sort of financial hardship. That basically means you could not meet your basic living expenses. Now, how you would prove this is you would show to the IRS that you were late on your bills, including your necessary bills like your mortgage or rent or your car payments or your utility payments. If you can show that during the time period at which you could not pay, you can get failure to pay penalty abatement. Now, going about getting failure to pay penalty abatement can take some time. What you have to do is you have to file for this abatement in writing with the IRS using Form 843, and you have to state your reasonable cause. That is, your circumstances outside of your control that caused you not to be able to pay. You would submit this to the IRS and you get either approval or a denial determination. Once that determination is made, if it's denied, you can go ahead and appeal that with the IRS's Service Center Appeals Office. And then you'll get a hearing several months afterwards being able to argue your penalty. Now, good penalty abatement cases for reasonable cause has outside proof. I mentioned financial hardship, so showing utility bills or late mortgage payments or repossession of a car. All of those things come into play. What also comes into play is how you manage your overall finances. For example, someone who goes on a vacation versus paying their bills would not qualify for reasonable cause for the failure to pay penalty. So use some of these tips. Go ahead and request the failure to pay penalty relief either using first-time penalty abatement, watch that video, or go ahead and use reasonable cause. Most common is first-time penalty abatement. You should start there. If you don't qualify, go to reasonable cause abatement.